We're going to continue now and add water nodes to our water lines. So I'm going to pick back up at page 1-8. Water nodes, like I said, can be gate valves, fire hydrants, water meters, etc. We've got a dialog, as you can see at the top of page 1-9. It represents the water nodes. Similar to the water lines, you are going to select a pay item for the graphical information. So a pay item from the DDB on what we're placing, like a gate valve in this case. And that gate valve has a cell that it uses, that it plots in the file. And we assign that gate valve or that information to a particular line at a particular station. So let's go ahead and step through that process and add a few water nodes. So back in our baseplan.dgn file, let's use Power Civil, Water Sewer, and the Nodes tool. In this case, the Water Nodes tool. So let's select Water Sewer, Nodes, Water, and Add. Again, the default node ID will pop up based on our preferences. I'll leave that as is. Click OK. And I'm going to be placing water nodes along water line number 1. So I'll zoom into that particular water line. Now the first node that I'm going to place will be a gate valve. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the item from the DNC Manager. And I believe I have a category under Water Utility. So under the Pay Item folder, Water Utility, I have a gate valve folder. And there are several gate valves. I'll select the 12-inch gate valve. So just highlight it, click OK. By selecting that item that has a particular cell that it uses, and it'll plot that cell when I click Apply. Now where do I want to put it, and what water line do I want to put it on? The water line you can select from the punch-down list of available water lines. So I could say water line 6, for example, and that would be the one way up north. Or you could also use the ID water line tool. That means graphically select the water line you want to use. So I click the ID water line icon and I select that water line. And then in the dialog under location, it changes it to that appropriate water line. Now I can put this gate valve at the beginning or the end station. So you click on Begin, it puts it at the beginning, whatever your beginning is, in my case down here, or end station, it'll put it up at the top. Or you can dynamically place it, that's the other icon, and you slide along the line and place it like that. Or maybe you have a particular station you want it to be at, so you key the station in into the station field, and then you click the key in place icon. I'm sorry, 1 plus 1 0, and then key in place. So we've got 4 different ways to locate a water node. In my case, based on the way that I chose to flow this water line, which was pointing down, my bottom of my water line is station 0. If I had chosen my direction to be up, well then my station up at the top would be station 0. So in this case, I want to click the Begin Station icon to put the gate valve at the bottom of the element. Now if I zoom in to show you, the angle is 0. So it's aligning the text of that cell along the element. If I change it to 90, refresh my view, and hit the begin station, you can see the text is rotated. So you can rotate these things. That's called the alignment angle. So if I want a 180, I'll refresh and hit begin station again, and then finally 270, just to show you how it works. So anyway, once you're content with where it is and how it looks, you click apply, and we permanently put the cell in the file. So now that cell is in the file. We actually label it based on my project preferences, and that label obviously can be turned off through the project preferences. Well, let's add another water node, and we'll add this to the same water line, for example. So right from the water node dialog, I don't have to close it. I can keep this open. I'll click add water node. WN-2, click OK. This time I want to add a junction up here where they T together, so I'm going to add a T. So I'll hit select pay item, and I can see under my pay item folder, water utility junctions, I've got some T's there. So we'll do a 12-inch by 8-inch T, click OK, and I'm going to add that to the end. In my case, the end. So I'll zoom in on the end of the line. I'll click the end station, and I'll notice that the T is, graphically not positioned correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and change the rotation, refresh my view, and hit end station again. And therefore, there it angles it correctly and it looks okay. So I click apply, and it puts the second water node in. Now you can see that it labels the water nodes. It also labels the water line now that it has nodes on it. And again, those labels can be turned off. Let's continue. This time adding a third water node. And you kind of get the feel for this. It's quite simple. I'm going to add the third water node to this water line that runs along the south and curves up to the north, or water line 2 if you will. And let's add a fire hydrant. So again, I'll select a different pay item. I see fire hydrants, so I'll go ahead and select either one of those. Click OK. And I want to use the dynamic place option. So do dynamic place. I might have to zoom in here. So let me zoom into a portion of it. Use the dynamic place, and you can see where I move my mouse. I want to change the angle to 180 in this case. And I can just data point wherever I want to put it. And when I'm ready, click apply. So you can see how easy it is to add these nodes. And one thing is that since you're adding, it's plotting it for you, and since it has a pay item information associated with it, there's a quantity factor associated with it, and therefore it'll be easy for us to quantify how many nodes or how many gate valves or how many bins or how many T's you may have on your project. And we'll look at that further into the course.